Hello, everyone. So today we're going to talk about Cochise a little bit. We're going to talk about how to go about trying to get to a place where you can even start to do something like that song, and try to give you some helpful tips along the way. If you want to follow me along with this journey, everybody shut up. I'm going to sing stuff. Let's do this. And I tried so hard to heal this wound, this pain I feel. So I have a student I've been teaching for a while, learns things very quickly, and it's always inspiring to hear, students that you have that are putting the pieces together and really figuring this stuff out. But he recently was like, why don't we work on one song at a time, and I want to try to, get to a point where I can record it, and then I want to do it live. And I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds like a great idea. And then he's like, let's start with Cochise. And I was like, even Cornell could barely sing Cochise live, let alone well live. And there's plenty of reasons for that, and I'll try to sprinkle that in, but one hell of a difficult song to sing. Either way, the stuff I'm going to share here, obviously I can't share too much because it's only going to be a 20-minute video or so. I share more stuff on Patreon if you want to join me over there, or if you want to take a lesson with me, you can, sterlingrjackson.com, you can definitely do that. But there's a lot to this stuff, and it can take years of a little bit forward, a little bit back, diagnosing what's happening, really getting a strong foundation, learning what your voice likes, what it doesn't like, learning mix, learning distortion, learning whatever. Mostly today, what we're going to focus on is trying to find a pocket, because this is all pocket-based work. When we leave chest voice, and even when we start to approach our bridge, we enter into, whether you recognize it or not, more of a pocketed region in the throat that the sound is going to be encapsulated into. So instead of your placement, again, falling forward, like I talk about a lot, where the pocket, there is no pocket because the air and everything is escaping out of the front of the face, we're going to be trying to work into a pocket that's catching that sound, and that's kind of giving our voice license to sit and giving us an ability to sit in a place that's not only protecting our voice in a sense, but utilizing pressure, utilizing air pressure, holding us in a space. So it's a pocket. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to find that pocket here together. Then we're going to start trying to move that pocket around, and we're going to try to push into that. I'm not going to keep saying pocket. We're going to keep trying to push into that, and then we're going to try to add distortion to that a little bit as well while kind of referencing this song. Again, only can do so much in one of these lessons, but first of all, when we're talking about pockets like this, it's going to be all around the back of the throat, upper soft palate. Your soft palate can move. So I just got done teaching this about an hour ago to a student. If this is your lips here, this is your hard palate. Then we have the soft palate here where the uvula hangs down, and then we have an opening in the back of the soft palate which lets you up into your nasal cavity, etc. Either way, this soft palate can move. It can I can't move my hand that way, but it can move up and it can move down, and we can manipulate it. It's something that's manipulatable. So when we push back there, we can start to create a shape that can utilize that sound. It can also allow us to funnel in more or less up into a head voice space. So without breaking this down too much more, we're going to be utilizing that space, and it's going to start to feel, hopefully for you, like you're catching the sound back there in like a catcher's mitt, a fucking all kinds of different analogies you could come up with. But we're going to start just like this. If I go, right here, my sound is basically, my placement is basically bouncing off my hard palate. It's falling straight out of the face. Like this. If I go, right there, it's starting to point back here towards this pocket thing I'm talking about. Now, we're going to take that shape. We're going to take that sound, UNG, and again, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, however you're doing this. This information is invaluable across the board. It's going to make everything easier. It's going to be something you want to add to your repertoire of learning how to do. It might feel like you're practicing just being more nasal. It might feel like different things to you. Essentially, at the end of the day, though, we're calling it pocket work right now. So I want you to move around a little bit with me wherever you're in your comfortable chest voice range right now. And I want you to imagine that shape or that space back here, like we're starting to direct energy right to it, air pressure, etc. You can be supporting, not supporting, doesn't matter. But It kind of feels like you're catching the sound, right? Oh. Now I want you to try to manipulate that in an incorrect way or a more frontal type of way. I want you to move your placement, is what I'm saying. So we're using UNG. And notice the meter of your voice. Now, as you notice that back pocket back there, really try to pay attention to the way it feels. We're going to start moving this around with a couple different scales. Mostly you can just practice with sirens if you're trying to do this at home. You don't have a piano. You don't have to do scales. Scales aren't always the perfect thing that's just going to guide you forward in life in terms of singing. But if we go like this. You feel that pocket? So now, as we go higher, we're going to keep sticking in that pocket. If our larynx is rising, notice again, you're going to start falling forward. So we're trying to keep everything nice and relaxed and just stay in that pocket. Again, in terms of mixed voice, whether you know this or not, we're going to be handing over more and more to that space and up to here as higher we go. It sounds like this, so you have a reference. If you're having trouble with that, you can try to use O to oo, but still using the pocket. And try to pull the larynx down. But for us right now. One more. So again, if that space is starting to feel kind of like you're cramping into that, and it's like, it's kind of going like this is important stuff too. We're going to get in there now. We're going to do some yawning and some stretching. I would typically take you through the tongue stretch and all that kind of stuff, but people are going to start clicking out of this if I start going left, right, and all this and whatever. If we at least take a second to stretch this out, I want you to think about that pocket in the back of the throat like Play-Doh or like silly putty or whatever you grew up playing with that's like that. It's malleable. It's stretchable. We're going to keep taking it, and if it's kind of restricted right now, we're going to take it and go and open it up. So, nice big yawn. Imagine the back of your throat like a circle. And now that circle, I'm going to start trying to expand. And if you need to pause this to kind of stretch further and really get that stretch out there, a stretch is not, I stretched. A stretch is, imagine trying to touch your toes. We don't just go, ooh, I'm done. we do it for a good 10 seconds, 15, whatever, and really start to feel the space continue to open up. We breathe, etc. So we want to stretch that space out. Now, again, I'm not supporting when I'm doing this stuff yet, but let's take one more scale. All we're focused on, again, is making that pocket sound. So I'm going to do a 5-tone. Now, let's start adding a tiny bit of support if you can, just playfully. See if you can start to add support into this. If it's not working or it's making things considerably worse, then don't do that yet. Now, we're going to, again, we're moving fast, but I'm going to start putting different vowels through this, and we're just going to take it in terms of sirens so we can learn how those vowels and how those sounds sit or try to pull us out of the pocket. Again, most important thing being staying interlocked into that space as much as we can. The vowels, the words, all that stuff makes a lot less, it's much less important than us staying safely tucked into that space. So let's just take some sirens comfortably for you, higher or lower, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to take oh, and I'm going to take a, kind of here I'm trying to guide it right to that pocket. A is kind of mixed, but it's also falling forward a bit. So I'm just trying to be conscious of that. I should be pretty easy. E. I have to really manipulate E. I have to vowel modify it. E is too much weight right here. So E. I skipped over O. Oh. Now one more time. We're going to try to add a little bit of support underneath that. So you see there, it's pulling me back and keeping me in that space. Now let's start to try to take this. The notes to Cochise are mostly these, which is a B4 is the higher typical note. Well, I've been. So those are mostly your notes. I don't need to play it, but you know how it goes. So now we're going to be sticking in that space, and we're going to try to sing some of these notes without words, and then we're going to try to put words in there. Throughout this journey of this song, there's going to be parts where you're ducking into some more unhealthy. You're going to be ducking into healthier stuff. Depends on how much you're enunciating. Depends on how much you're staying in the pocket, blah, blah, blah. A lot of things, right? Chris Cornell included as well, meaning he was doing some things unhealthy in this song as well. But, it's fucking rock and roll. It's badass. It's a terrific song. But we're going to go, ma, 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 ma. So you see right there, I'm not really supporting much. I'm just trying to go, and stay in that, ma, ma. M's help because they give you something to push against, ma, like this. If I just go, and had to attack the note, much more difficult in the voice, much more hard to do. But if I go, ma, 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 like that, it's giving me more connection. Are you hearing that pocket? Are you sensing that? Is it working for you? Is it higher or too low for you? Whatever. There's a lot of questions to be asked there. But keep trying to stick with me here. Mama, well, I've been watching while you've been coughing. Every chance that I can, I'm trying to find a way to move up into that space and allow my voice to move up like this. If you're processing some of these words and it falls down, really become conscious of this, noticing whether you're allowing yourself to move up into here. This goes for AC/DC and all kinds of stuff. I was cold in the middle of a railroad track. Track tends to fall down. So track. I'm always looking for a reason to keep lifting up into the head. So listen to me again if I do. Where are we? Well, I've been watching while you've been coughing. I'm using every reason I can to use those muscles up there so I don't fall down here. Now, hopefully you're kind of doing all right with that. That's the verse. Like I said, see if you can support it. If you can't, just try to stay in the pocket, stay together. Chord closure being the most important key here, because the more we're going and it's making faces and trying to hold together, the more it's just going to go downhill. Let's go to the chorus really quick. Go on and save yourself. Take it out on me. It's very hard to sing. Me. Which is probably that note. Way over my bridge. He had trouble with it too. You can vowel modify that to may. We don't want to, but we might have to. Take it out on me. Go on and save yourself. Take it out on me. Me. falls down through the jaw. Again, it's pulling you back down. Hear that teetering back and forth like a seesaw? So again, see if you can sustain some of these notes. See if you can stay in that pocket. Let's take it like that for a second. Can I sit in that space? Can you add vibrato to that space? Can you get enough in that pocket that we can sit in it? Not just like like this, but sit there and even maybe add vibrato. Certain ones I'm better with than others, right? But you can hear I'm trying to sit right in that space. Now, hopefully this is making some sense. I know I'm going fast, but we're getting to the distortional part of this now. We have a pocket. We have a pocket that's hopefully working for you, or maybe you've clicked off the video because you're like, nope. But we have a pocket and a space that we keep lifting up into, and we keep guiding that sound into. It sounded like I was going into Arnold there. For you keep guiding it into, but we're just pushing back into that place. Right behind that place is distortion. Upper distortion in this case. Could be a little bit more false for you. It depends on where you're sitting in your range. It depends on how much you've been doing this stuff. But if I can take that pocketed space, I'm going to add a little bit more to it. So it's going to feel kind of like turns into a little bit more So listen to him for a second and listen to how much he has in his sound. And I can't play too much of it because then it's just going to get flagged by YouTube. So he just said, if I go, and I start adding, clean is, I'm starting to add a little bit of grit there. Now, he's got a lot of distortion in there, more than I'm going to do right now. But either way, I'm starting to, distortion will probably work better the next day, and the next day, it's something you have to keep kind of working on and getting warmed up, etc. But we're still doing it. Try to get a little bit of that sandpaper sound coming from So again, if we have, let's do it down here first. So we're back there. So you hear me just barely starting to kind of bridge into distortion there. I ate yogurt before this too, which is not going to help anything. It's just slimy grossness. So as we do this again, knowing what you know now about holding into a specific shape, and that shape being very important, distortion's exactly the same across the board anytime you're doing distortion too, trying to hold on to a shape. Words don't matter as much. None of that stuff matters as much as holding on to the shape. So if my shape is now going from to we can try it lower. Well, I've been watching while you've been coughing. You hear me every time entering into that place and how it's giving me distortion? Well, I've been watching while you've been coughing. Well, I've been watching while you've been coughing. So now I'm struggling a bit, but there you can see I'm staying in that space, trying to add to it. So one more step. Let's try to talk about the scream for a second. If I'm in that pocket, and if I'm getting that to work, and I'm warmed up to keep me, seeing how long we can sit in and we can stay in it. Oh, I've been watching while you've been coughing. I've been drinking live while you've been nonsense. Staying there. I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to add a relaxation response around my vocal cords, similar to whispering, similar to hissing, like this, and start to give myself a little bit of a vocal fry scream in that. Again, everything happening backwards, and this is complicated stuff, And it might not even work that well for me while I'm doing this right now. I think the scream is still a B4. You don't feel a thing. So again, we're seeing if we can sit there. Thing! Right? Sounds good. Connected. Thing! There, I got a little bit of distortion. Now I'm going to try to loosen up down here while holding that pocket up here. Right? So we're going to go, thing! And I'm going to start loosening up down here. So you heard me kind of crazily going, and loosening up, but let's do it lower again. Thing! 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 See how it's a little bit easier lower? Because then I'm just loosening down here, just enough to kind of get some of that. Or you can just practice it like that. Now let's add on and ah into it. You don't feel a thing! You don't feel a thing! So there, a little bit good, a little bit not so good. But still, trying to bring that together and then just kind of start to fall apart a little bit. Now again, you want to be a little bit more warmed up for this stuff. Again, if I had been doing it the day before, hopefully it'll be a little bit better. But you hear me entering into some of these spaces, whether I'm doing it perfectly or not. Or maybe people just shit all over and be like, well, you don't sound enough like him or whatever the fuck. But hopefully some of this information helped you. Hopefully you can connect some of these dots. Again, take this stuff kind of slowly. Clean is always the most important. If you can do it clean, then we try to add distortion. If you have distortion in there that you don't want and that it's just happening, then something's grabbing a hold that shouldn't be. Not to mention, I had a student ask me, or somebody emailed me the other day, like, when you're singing Chris Cornell, like, where is your tongue placement? Some teacher told me it should be here behind the teeth. And it shouldn't be doing anything. Your tongue has absolutely nothing to do with any of this. Well, I've been watching. It should be doing nothing. If you're moving that around, or it's picking up in the back, or you're moving the front of it, or there's the Ken Tamplins, they're doing strange things like this. Your tongue is getting involved. Those muscles are getting involved in the sound, and they have no place being involved in the sound because there's nothing that needs to be engaging with the tongue muscles. So if you feel like you're doing something strange, shut that down. Go backwards. Should be pretty comatose. I hope this helped somebody. Hope this helped you. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up so I can try to redeem myself with some of these screams. Again, we need to hold together tight enough so that we can kind of push back and really distort and get into that powerful place and grab a hold of the sound. But again, then we're trying to loosen up in other areas. Complicated shit. But if I keep going, you don't feel a thing! You don't feel a thing! You don't feel a thing! Oh! I'm trying to just, oh! Trying to see how much I can kind of move into it, but that's just happening backwards. So again, wanted to redeem myself there again so that you can kind of hear that works. You don't feel a thing! You should be able to sit there. Oh! Oh! Ah! Ah! You hear all those muscles grabbing a hold? All right, I'm out.